Do not judge other people, says Jesus. Hello world, my name is David Dorn and this is Preposterous, which is not your typical Bible study. Now this is a favorite saying for a lot of people, where Jesus says not to judge. It's found in Matthew chapter 7 verses 1 through 2. Let's take a look at this. Don't judge so that you won't be judged. You'll receive the same judgment you give. Whatever you deal out will be dealt out to you. The people I find who like this verse the most are those who don't believe in Jesus, and they want to be left alone by meddling Christians. Now they have that opinion because their experience with Christians is one filled with shame and judgment. Now explain to me where Jesus demonstrated using shame and judgment to win people over. Here's a hint. You're not going to find it. Christ's followers are not to be the morality police, citing people for all of their wrongs. Instead, we are to be beacons of light for people caught in darkness. Jesus never condoned people's sin, but he never beat people up over it either. In verses 3 through 5, Jesus tells us that before you go out pointing out other people's sin, take care of your own. He uses this analogy of pointing out a speck of dust in someone else's eye while you have a log lodged in your own eye, which you're ignoring. Now, Jesus likes to use extreme examples to highlight faulty logic. He lets you draw your own conclusions from there. And Jesus says, whatever judgment you deal out, it'll be dealt back to you. This is the biblical equivalent of what my mother always told me. What goes around comes around. If you don't want people doing it to you, then why would you do it to them? The placement of this verse is important too. At the very end of chapter 6, Jesus said, instead, desire first and foremost God's kingdom and God's righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. It's very hard to be focused on God and His kingdom and the people He loves and still point out everyone else's sins. Now, how does this verse work with the idea of Christian accountability? Meaning, you and I as Christians need to keep each other accountable. Paul addresses this in 1 Corinthians 5, 12 through 13. What do I care about judging outsiders? Isn't it your job to judge insiders? God will judge outsiders. Expel the evil one from among you. What Paul is saying here is, stop judging people outside the church. That's God's job, not yours. But keep those Christians inside the church accountable for their faith. Now you have to understand that the church that Paul is talking to here in Corinth, they had a member of their church sleeping with his own stepmother, and yet nobody wanted to tell him it was wrong. It is not for us to judge other people, especially those who don't know Jesus. Now that statement should never be a license for people to do whatever they want. But instead, it should give us the freedom to love everyone, despite their actions or circumstances. Now, I believe people are accountable for their actions. But the more I get to know people and the more I understand how people work, the more I see how external factors such as parenting and upbringing and sexual abuse, and money and bullying, etc., all affect people's decisions. You just don't know what a person has gone through and never assume that you know. For me, this verse has had a big impact in the way that I see people. I grew up with a bit of a chip on my shoulder, looking down upon people who I thought didn't have their stuff together, thinking I had my own stuff together. But Jesus changed me, and He changed the way I see people. In the early days of making videos on YouTube, I recognized how much damage Christians had done by failing to live by this verse, including myself. So I did a video called I Am Sorry, an apology to gays, atheists, and more. Now, I shot this video off my webcam in my dorm room, and I never saw what was going to happen next coming. That video and the spoken word remake I did earlier this year has opened the door for tens of thousands of people to meet Jesus without a finger shaking in their face. Jesus never judged. He simply forgave those who came to Him, and He left them with this charge: go and sin no more. will we give people enough room to experience Jesus in that same way? Now, what's your story of judgment? For good or for bad? Leave it in a comment or a video response down below. I'd love to hear it. And if you submit it as a video response, you could win an iTunes gift card. If you like this episode of Preposterous, make sure you share it with your friends, and make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe to us here on YouTube. If you have any questions for me, you can always tweet me at @IamPreposterous. And if you're a small group leader and would like to use Preposterous for your small group, you can sign up on the website at preposterousproject.com. May we learn to follow Jesus, even in the preposterous things, which include, but are not limited to, not judging other people. Check out comments from last week's episode. I hope you have a great day. God bless.
I believe that God is about loving each other and helping others whenever possible. And I believe that God always will answer our prayers in unexpected ways and stuff.
Oh, please, 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 still be recording? Yes!